That's a good question, Yanis. Why did it take me that long? Well, I guess I guess after 40 years, um, the time just went by fairly quickly, I guess, really, Yanis. And I guess I was always anticipating that if I ever did make another record in my life, that it would be with Judas Priest. I didn't know anything else really because I'd always been a part of Judas Priest, and it was my life, and it was everything. It was a complete part of me. It was like a family. When I was in the band, I never left like the other guys to make albums or to form bands with other people. I was always very loyal and true. It was like trying to accept that another person is your mother or your father. I just couldn't accept that. So I kept myself busy. I was always working. Straight away, I went into production and arranging. It's a popular myth that I retired. That's not true. No one's ever heard that from me. I was very unhappy at the time that I quit, and I wanted that to resolve itself and then to reconvene, however long it took. But it was the years went by, and I just couldn't wait forever. And every time I asked, I was told the same thing: the door is permanently closed. So eventually, after playing with Ripper and Les, in November 2019, that Christmas 2019, I decided to see if I could write an album. So I did. Back in, you know, the late 60s, early 70s, I was able to put a band together, you know, that because I heard and I had a direction, and I was able to do it. And I guess I don't find that difficult. And now, especially when you've got people like Ripper Owens, we've played together before, we've recorded together before, we've toured the world, and with AJ, I've known him a long time. He lives close to me. He's from the same area, we're in the same town that I grew up in. So there's a very good chemistry. He's considerably younger. He's half my age, maybe a bit less. So we put the band together. I know the guys, and I know they're strong. And as you say, the chemistry is really strong. So now I feel very strong. Also, already working on material for the next record. And we just need the pandemic to clear up so we can get out and play some shows. I decided that I can go forward and with a new band and a new album and new music. That's fine, but I didn't want to start over 100% fresh because I don't want to cut off and dispense with who I am, what I am, my style, how I play the guitar, how I write songs. I think it's a very important ingredient that I keep all of that. And so that identity, and I feel I have total license to take some small elements of the past with me into the future with the band. And I like that, because there's guys in the band that I've never met. I don't know who they are, and they're playing my songs and my music, and they go out there and be very successful with that and make money. That's great. But then I think that my band can do that also because I am a very loyal, devoted priest, and that will never change.
We're breaking loose 'cause we're wild and free. We're wild and strong.
I have a song like Wild and Free that is like a kind of a modern day, a newer version of like Breaking the Law. It's quite rebellious, we all went through that. So it's kind of a bit kind of similar, but I like that too, because I always want to remember myself when I was a crazy teenager. We all think that we're still teenagers being crazy and doing things that you shouldn't, and everybody else is wrong and you're right. You and your friends are right, of course, because we're the gang, you know. I had a signed poster at the Albert Hall, and I had a Coca-Cola bottle that Jimmy drunk out of, and a drumstick from Mitch Mitchell. I'd one of Jimi Hendrix's fuzz faces. I had all this stuff, but you see, I was working in a job, and I used to go from this job to these music festivals. And one time I came back much too late, but they had destroyed everything, and they ripped all my Hendrix posters up and threw them away, and I was fired from the job. So I had to get on the bus and go back to my family home, which was terrible, really, because I was just going almost 17 when that happened, and that was pretty much it, you know. So sadly, I lost everything. A big collection of posters and pictures and things like that, you know, from other bands also. I think it will happen, you know. I mean, whenever that is going to be, I don't know. But there's lots of great music on there. I know it was a long album and people's attention span, and I know obviously the mixture of the classical ingredients here and there was not really what the fans wanted, and I totally understand that and totally get that. But at the time, you always think, is this the last thing I'm ever going to do? You know, you never really know. So to be able to put something like that was and to complete that was really quite a statement. You know, myself and Glenn worked fantastically well on that album. We did it really quite quick, and we worked very well together on that album, probably better than on any previous album, I think, really. And it's just nice to know that you can leave something like that, even if it's basically on the shelf for now.
Walking through fire, fates in my hands, waiting for lightning to strike. Man on a wire, bearing the brand, waiting for lightning to strike.
Judas Priest is different to me because I'm not in it. So to me, it finished when I wasn't there. That's for me, you know. And the band is a different band now. It's successful, and that's great. But I'm sure a lot of people remember the band, the traditional Priest, as it was when we were really on fire, storming across the world. I see Richie playing Glenn solos from the Firepower album, which I think is a bit, you know, I don't know why Andy doesn't play that, you know, I mean, those parts. And I just think the two guitar trade-off, and I miss the solos, you know. Obviously on this album, there's an abundance of guitar playing, solos and stuff, you know, and I like that. And of course, I get to play more on this album. You know, I should have played more in Priest, but I should have put my foot down and said, Glenn, I need to play more solos because I can. And so now I can, which is great. And I see obviously Richie playing my solos and Glenn's solos. I know that Andy was a rhythm player in his own band before then, which I liked that band. I know Kevin was the lead player in that, you know, so but he sustained an injury, unfortunately. But I liked that band. I thought they were really cool. We should be eternally grateful for Ripper because he saved the band, really. You know, because the band was in a mess. Rob left for 14 years. I didn't see him from to the end of 1990 until 2004, you know. And Glenn left to do a couple of solo albums with his thing, and Rob took our drummer Scott with him when he left. So we didn't really have a band. But when Ripper came along, we were able to stay alive and keep going. You know, he was our salvation, Ripper was, and we should be eternally grateful, and we should be eternally proud and grateful of those two albums that he helped us to do as well. The guys were up and coming and we were already there established. That's understandable now, but it was mainly Paul, really. Paul did apologize for statements he made to the press. You know, the rest of the guys were always very amicable and nice guys, but I'm very proud of the guys now. Obviously, I have been for a long time. They become obviously the mighty Iron Maiden, and they seem to get better all of the time. You know, on their last Rock in Rio show was that 2018. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but you know, I've been watching that on video, and it's fantastic. You know, I mean, the guys put on a great show always. So yeah, so let's keep it going. You know, you can't keep the good bands down, he says. Black Sabbath go out, or AC/DC, the Mighty Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, you know, Scorpions, we still have these bands playing huge venues and headlining huge festivals. I believe that the music is still very, very much revered and treasured. And hopefully younger and older musicians will like Sermons of the Sinner by KK's Priest and think, that's great, I want to play that music. I think that it would be great, and I do say it would be great if we had a young Deep Purple or a young Black Sabbath or a young Judas Priest or a young Scorpions. You know, we have a young Led Zeppelin in Greta Van Fleet who are very, very successful. You know, in a way, they're new faces, new voices, you know, new musicians with new material, but that connection with something that happened very special, you know, in the early 70s, known as the incredible Led Zeppelin, we don't have anymore. So let's hope that that will live on as, you know, as I'm sure that it will.